Today we're talking about Doctor Who. We're going to separate the truth from the lies. Hello, welcome back to my world of stuff. Yes, it's time for another video about Doctor Who. Apologies for that if you're not a Doctor Who fan. This video has come about because of a certain narrative that is built up over the last few weeks, particularly on YouTube and on social media. And of course, it's been going back for years, really, with Doctor Who fans. Doctor Who fans are a curious breed. They profess to love this imaginative, exciting show. But then when it isn't exactly what they want it to be, or when it goes outside their little box of what they think it should be, they react by tearing out their hair, screaming, being abusive, posting videos about how much they hate Doctor Who going woke. Dr. Woke is still a big meme at the moment. And they fail to understand that the world has changed. It's not 1967 anymore. Doctor Who's no longer made in 4-part 25-minute serials at Riverside Studios in London. It's now a big budget production. It appeals to a massive audience. And it's now made in 2023, 2024. It's going to reflect the real world. Television does. Television reflects the real world. And I'm afraid for Doctor Who fans, if that means occasionally you have to be exposed to certain concepts and ideals and people that you're not used to dealing with, you either walk away and find something else that suits your purpose a bit more, or you settle down, grow up a little bit, and accept that the world has changed. But these Doctor Who fans are constantly posting YouTube videos, and YouTube now, of course, gives people this platform to spout this stuff. And it's difficult to work out whether half the time they actually mean it or whether they do it just to get clicks. Because, of course, clicks mean views boost your analytics, and eventually these people can monetize themselves. And I do wonder a lot of the time if the people who spout this nonsense genuinely mean it, or they just do it to get clicks, just to get attention, because they do. And to be fair, they do get a lot of attention. You post a go broke Doctor Who video, Doctor Who RIP, you're going to get 4,000 or 5,000 views. And occasionally I've looked at the comments on these things, and there are a lot of very hateful people out there who really dislike a lot of stuff happening in Doctor Who. And Doctor Who is changing. Doctor Who is moving forward. I think Doctor Who is going to be even less like it used to be in years to come. And you either tolerate that, you either adapt to it, or you stop watching. But it's constantly posting hate. It just completely baffles me. But I let it go most of the time, and I have engaged in, shall we say, debate with some of these people. But they're so entrenched in their views, they won't change their views. Their views are what they are. But what I'm not prepared to put up with, without commenting on it in some way, is the lies that are now being spread. Certainly over the last few weeks, we've seen a lot of people posting videos which are either straightforward lies or a basic misunderstanding of data, which is easy to do. Part of it is to do with TV ratings, and that is quite an arcane and dry subject, which I'm interested in. And I look at the TV ratings, and I'm fascinated by them. I've even as an outsider, I can pick up the trends and see how viewing figures, patterns are changing and so on. But these people, unfortunately, look at the numbers and think, well, this proves their point. This proves their point that Doctor Who isn't popular. But they ignore the other half of the data, which proves, oh, actually, Doctor Who's very popular, because that doesn't fit their narrative and their clickbait. So what I'm going to try and do in this video is just point out 3 examples of misinformation in the world of Doctor Who that's been twisted and turned and lied about. And the first example of that is the recent release of 2 particular trailers for Doctor Who. Now, on Christmas Day, we had the Christmas special, of course, which properly introduced Shooting Out with a Church on Ruby Road. A very popular episode, as you will shortly see. And at the end of that episode was a trailer, a minute and a half, minute and a quarter or something, trailing clips from the forthcoming episodes, which are screened in May. That video went online, and as of yesterday, it had 305,000 views. It's not bad. 9 days ago, however, the BBC put up the trailer for the forthcoming season 15 Blu-ray box set, which saw the return of Louise Jameson as Leela fighting in the Time War. That's been up for 9 days, and that's had 690,000 views. Now, if you look at those figures, you might think, wow, that's really popular. That's wow, that's really amazing for an old Doctor Who Blu-ray set to have more viewers than a forthcoming episode trailer. That can't be right. And of course, a lot of these fans have leapt on this and screamed in their usual hysterical fashion, "This proves that Doctor Who is crap. This proves that no one's interested in Doctor Who. More people are interested in Series 15 of Doctor Who than they are in Season 1 with Shooting Hour. Doctor Who is dead, R.I.P." No, that's obviously not the point, is it? That's not the case at all. That trailer for Season 1 of Doctor Who was at the end of the church on Ruby Road, which has been watched by, as we shall discover, about 8 million viewers. 8 million viewers have seen that trailer independent of its YouTube presence. And having seen it at the end of the episode, they might not feel the need to watch it again online. Remember, Doctor Who is at the moment, its main focus is to get back those casual viewers, those fans who have lapsed, new fans. They will have seen that trailer at the end of the episode and thought, wow, that looks good, can't wait. But that doesn't mean they're going to scurry off to YouTube to look at the trailer again. Looking at trailers again and again and again is the province of fools. Is the province of hardcore Doctor Who fans. They're the ones who've looked at the Season 15 trailer 690,000 times because they are the only ones who'll be buying that box set. So they're looking at it again and again and again. So it's disingenuous, egregious, and it's a straightforward lie to suggest that the trailer for Season 1 has only had 305,000 views because it's been available elsewhere. It's available at the end of the episode on iPlayer. People are still consuming that episode on iPlayer. They're seeing the trailer there. So to say that the Season 15 trailer is more popular than the Season 1 trailer is a lie. At best, it's just ignoring the fact that the Season 1 trailer has been available since Christmas Day on iPlayer and was watched by 8 million viewers on the day. So it is a lie to say that the Season 15 trailer is more popular than Season 1's trailer. It is a lie to say that Doctor Who is dead because of this. I hope that's clarified that. And this is information you won't get from these people because they don't want you to know that. They only want you to look at those raw, bald figures about views on YouTube. It is not true. The Doctor Who trailer has been watched probably by about 10 million people by now. The Season 15 trailer, because it's only on YouTube, has been watched by 690,000. And I'm not decrying the Season 15 box set, the Season 15 trailer. But perspective, please, in where those things are available and how and when people can watch them. Next up, let's look at the extremely contentious issue of Doctor Who's actual TV ratings. Going back to the special episodes that we had in November, December, The Star Beast, Wild Blue Yonder and The Giggle, and then the Christmas special, The Church on Ruby Road. I'm going to look at their viewing figures and put them in the context of how successful they actually were against the context of fans who are, I call them fans, these YouTube people who keep posting videos about how Doctor Who's viewers are plunging, how the catch-up figures are being fudged. And that's the amusing thing, how they say that the catch-up figures are being fudged by the BBC. TV ratings, if you don't know, are compiled by the BARB in the UK, and they get a figure, an overnight figure, people who watch a programme from the time it's screened up until 2 a.m. the next morning. Those are the overnight figures. Then 7 days later, we get the figures of all those who watched it on catch-up services, who recorded it on devices, watched it on devices, and then we do get a 28-day figure later, which is an additional catch-up figure. I think the 7-day figure also includes people who watch it on phones and laptops and iPads and so on. So it's a very complex barometer. It's a very complicated procedure in collating all these figures. And because of that, some of these people try and worm their way in between the cracks to say, well, no, that's not popular, that's not popular. These figures are not collated by the BBC. BBC have nothing to do with these figures. They don't supply the figures to BARB. They don't provide the figures. They don't tamper with the figures. These are the figures that are collated and are accurate and correct. So let's go back to the Star Beast. This is the episode that was shown, as I recall, on the 19th of November last year, Saturday the 19th of November. The first David Tennant, Catherine Tate special. Very excited, lots of buzz about the episode. It scored 5.08 overnight viewing figures. Now, at first blush, that might be, wow, that's not very good. Didn't David Tennant and Catherine Tate used to get 9-10 million viewing figures back in the day? They did. That day was 15 years ago. TV viewing has changed. I'm sure I don't need to have to tell you that TV viewing has changed a lot since 2008. The way figures are collated has changed. It has to change. The iPlayer is now a massive present, whereas it wasn't back then. Plus, we have the proliferation of TV channels and other streaming services. Amazon and Netflix have risen to massive prominence since 2008. channels like Paramount, Disney+. These are all things which chip away at terrestrial TV viewing habits. And they have generally. You just have to look at the TV ratings to establish how viewing habits have changed. But these particular Doctor Who fans won't do that. They will look at Doctor Who's figures and go, 5.8 million viewers, but Voyage of the Damned had 16 million back in 2007 or whatever it was. They don't put any perspective or context on it. They don't look at the fact that viewing figures for all shows are down massively. I don't have all the figures here at the moment, but if you look at, for example, the soap operas in Britain, Coronation Street, EastEnders and Emmerdale being the big three, back in the day, back in 2005 when Doctor Who came back, their figures towered over Doctor Who. Doctor Who was getting 8-9 million. The soap operas were 15, 16 million viewers. They have dropped catastrophically, and that's a whole other issue, I think, the collapse of soap operas. But their viewing figures now, EastEnders can get 3.5 million viewers. Coronation Street struggles to get 5 million viewers, 6 on a good day. And Emmerdale around the same 4.5 million. Their viewing figures have plunged. That's not just because of certain issues about the proliferation of soap operas and the overexposure of soap operas. It's also to do with the viewing environment. Terrestrial viewing figures have plunged enormously. You do get event series, you get massive shows like the recent Mr. Bates versus the Post Office, which has really captured people's imaginations. That's had massive viewing figures. Things like Vigil a couple of years ago, Line of Duty. There are some big shows, Strictly Come Dancing. Some of these sort of shows are bums on the seat on the night shows that people will watch, and including catch-up figures. There are some big terrestrial shows, but even those aren't reaching the peaks of shows 20 years ago. They're getting 9, 10 million viewers. The big shows years ago, 15, 16, 18, 20 million viewers. Viewing figures are down generally, but this particular cadre of Doctor Who fans won't reference that. They'll only reference Doctor Who and get 5.8 million viewers. It's a flop, RTD must go. It's nonsense, of course, but if you go deeper at those figures, you will see that that was the best overnight figure since 2018, just 5 years ago, when Resolution, the New Year special in 2018, starring Jodie Whittaker, had 5.15 overnight figures. However, that 5.08 million viewers on the night meant that at that point, Doctor Who was the second most watched programme of the night, after Strictly Come Dancing. And it was in itself the biggest drama launch on UK television of the entire year of 2023, with 5.08 million viewers. Failure? Flop? RTD must go? I don't think so. Then if we go on to look at the 7-day figures for the episode, the final consolidated figures, that included people who watched it on iPlayer and Catch Up, people who watched it on devices, took it up to 7.61 million viewers. That was the highest final total for an episode since the Soranga Conundrum back in 2017 in Jodie Whittaker's first season. Is that a failure? Yeah, and that was the 10th highest rated programme of the week. And that particular time of the year, we've got multiple episodes of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. We've got Strictly Come Dancing, some of those big shows. And Doctor Who was the highest rated drama of the week. Number 10 in the ratings had an AI, an audience appreciation figure of 84. The whole issue of AIs is an entirely different thing, but suffice to say, an AI of 84 is a damn good number. I mean, the show is popular, so people liked it. And following month in December, Russell T Davies said that the episode now had a reach of 9 million viewers. So those are the facts. Those are the facts about the Star Beast that you won't get from these people who just look at the overnight figure and then say, well, that's a terrible overnight figure. When you look at the final figure, BBC have falsified it. That's their argument. That is their argument, which hopefully I have now put into some perspective for you, so you can see that their argument is a falsehood. It's a lie. If you look at the second episode, Wild Blue Yonder, which followed on from the Star Beast, obviously, that did suffer a slight drop in the overnight figures. It dropped to 4.83. That's a 4% drop. Now, the understanding in the TV world is that a new TV show will start, and the second episode will see a drop in its viewing figures. That drop is normally higher than 4%. Doctor Who had a very, very small drop, had a very, very high audience retention. The audience appreciation figure was 83. Again, the audience liked it a lot. It was the third highest rated programme of the night it was screened. The 7-day figure, including again devices, including catch up and so on, was 7.14 million viewers. Pretty much very nearly 2.5 million extra viewers. And that slotted it in as 9th of the week. Again, these fans will tell you 4.83. Oh, the viewing figures have plunged from last week. They've plunged from last week. 7.14. Well, the BBC are lying, aren't they? BBC are lying. BBC can't lie because they don't collect these figures. The following week, then, we had the epic giggle, which was the final of those 60th anniversary specials, where we saw David Tennant regenerate into Shruti Gatwa at the same time. That had another slight drop, 4.62 million viewers on overnights. It was another 4% drop. Negligible, really, in terms of TV figures. I had a massive AI of 85, the most popular of those episodes. And it was the third highest rated show of the day. The third highest rated show of the day. 7 days later, however, we find that this episode has a consolidated figure of 6.85. Now, admittedly, that is the lowest of the three, but it's 2.25 million higher than the overnight figure, and the show was the 10th highest rated show of the week. Once again, those fans will go, 4.62! Those viewing figures are less than the one before. Doctor Who viewing figures plunging. You show them the consolidated figure. That's a lie. BBC are fudging it. No, they're not. Let us move forward to Christmas Day. Hallelujah. Let the bells ring out. The Church on Ruby Road was screened 5 to 6 on BBC One Christmas Day. I thought it was an unusual slot, a little bit too early. Apparently not, because it had an overnight viewing figure of 4.73 million viewers. So it had climbed up from the previous couple of episodes, certainly previous episode. Not a massive increase in overnight figures, you might say, but it was a well-placed slot, a decent overnight figure, and it had a decent AI of 82. Not as high as the previous figure, but then it wasn't as good an episode. It was fun, but it wasn't as epic as the giggle. It was the third highest rated programme on Christmas Day on overnights. The third highest rated. But it gets better, because when you get the 7-day figures coming in, and there's an issue about that as well, there's 7.49 million viewers in total. 7.49. So that's well over 2.5 million viewers additional to the overnight figures. People who watched it on record, people who watched it on catch-up, people who watched it on devices. And it ended up the second highest rated show of the week, behind Call the Midwife, the very popular BBC drama. Second highest rated of the week. But the fans won't tell you that. Those fans will say, 4.73, that's very bad for a Christmas Day episode. Terrible. Doctor Who's dying, Doctor Who's dead, RTE must go. 7 days later, 7.49. BBC lied, particularly with that episode. The figures usually come out a week or so after broadcast. You get the figures run until Sunday. 8 days later, you normally get the figures. Because these figures came out something like 10, 12 days after Christmas, the conspiracy theorists were there. Well, the BBC have delayed the figures. The BBC have delayed the figures so they can fudge them. BBC don't provide the figures. The figures are nothing to do with the BBC. I can't emphasise this enough. The viewing figures, the BBC have no input into that at all. It's done by an outside independent company. BBC cannot fudge, cannot falsify, they cannot do anything with the figures. They are collated outside the BBC. And the reason they were late after Christmas, because it was the Christmas holiday. Is that so difficult to understand? Apparently it is. So that's the issues in relation to the ratings. I hope it's made a bit of sense to you. I hope you will understand that these people are lying. So I just wanted to do this video because I'm sure there are people, I don't know, haven't got that many subscribers. There may be people here who've looked at those videos and thought, wow, Doctor Who's really doing badly. And I want to put a bit more perspective on it. If this video makes at least one person scratch their chin and think, oh, I've been fed lies, it's been worth it, because I think it's hard to counter these people, especially on a small channel like this. I can only say my bit. There are other YouTubers out there. I'll name Mr. TARDIS. He does very long streams looking at videos and dismantling them piece by piece, which are brilliant. I can't do that. But I hope I've boiled it down to a nugget of truth, the nugget of truth which they ignore. They ignore, they twist, they lie. And you have to be very wary when you look at these things. So if you go on YouTube and you see these hate videos, they're not based from any place other than hate. They're not based in any place other than untruthfulness, because they're not interested in the truth. They're interested in getting across their twisted and warped opinion by way of lying. It's as simple as that. The only other thing I wanted to talk about on this Doctor Who related video is the news. And it's not news, it's just a rumour. I don't normally like to talk about rumours on this channel, but I'm going to talk about it because it's fed into this narrative slightly. The news story on the weekend from the Daily Mirror, first of all, that Millie Gibson, who plays Ruby Sunday, won't be in season 2 of New Doctor Who, or season 15 or whatever you want to call it. The article was written by a journalist called, I think her name is Nicola Methavan. She's got a bit of a history writing about Doctor Who in recent years, and a lot of her stories have either been true or have had more than a grain of truth in them. I think she's must have some pretty good sources. Of course, this has now been twisted slightly on these fan channels to Millie Gibson dropped, Millie Gibson betrayed, Millie Gibson let down, Millie Gibson devastated by being dropped from Doctor Who. At this point, we don't know the truth of this. We don't know the truth of this. It's not a question of being dropped. I think it's a question that perhaps in the writing of the episodes, the writing of the series, her characters aren't reached its natural conclusion. Perhaps there was always a natural endpoint to her arc. We haven't seen the episodes yet. So I understand from this article, and again, this is all rumour and conjecture, but it's being said that she's in the next series, she's in the next 8 episodes, then she isn't in the Christmas special. I think the guest cast in that include Nicola Coughlan from Derry Girls and Joel Fry. Then she does appear in the following series in 2 or 3 episodes to wrap up loose ends about her character. Now, I can't comment on this beyond the fact that the story is out there, and we don't know the truth of it. It may be a bit like the Christopher Eccleston situation. We never know the exact truth. We may pick up on little things that are said here and there, but we don't really know exactly the main thing that set Christopher Eccleston off. We may never know exactly what's happened here. There are several options. One, the character and the actress didn't work out. Perhaps there was an issue with her. From what I've seen, I can't see that because it was a great performance that first episode. She was instantly likeable, and I want to know more about her. But we don't know behind the scenes. There were some rumours last year that she wasn't very keen on night shoots and made that quite well known when she was filming. Again, I don't know. So it's either the issue is that the character has reached the end of the road, the actress didn't work out in terms of the production, and a better option came along. And there is another actress, I can't remember her name at the moment, I'll put a name here and a picture here, who apparently has been seen on set and that Russell T Davies and the crew have fallen in love with, and they were keen to get her on board. Whether they then truncated Ruby's arc or whether they felt that she would be a perfect replacement, we just don't know. But be wary of the YouTube videos that are shouting and screaming. Russell T Davies stabs Millie Gibson in the back. Ruby Sunday dropped. Millie dropped from Doctor Who. We don't know the truth. So be wary of those videos as well. Don't take them as gospel, because they're not. They're just more fan rumour. It is unfortunate that this has come out now, stoking those fires of these idiots who post this stuff. The idiots with the agendas who, Doctor Who RIP, Doctor Who's dead. I mean, I've responded to one of those 2 people, but it's not dead, is it? Because there are at least 2 more series and obviously more after that. But it's tiring. It is tiring. And one of the things I want to do this year is try not to get too involved in this sort of stuff and try and step back and enjoy the show and enjoy life without worrying about mad Doctor Who fans tearing their hair out. And we know the issues that they have are racial and gender-based. They don't like having a black doctor. They probably won't like having a black companion. They'll see this as some sort of conspiracy. They don't like the gender issues. And a lot of it doesn't necessarily sit well with me. And I'm not an RTD apologist. I'm not saying he hits the mark every time. I posted my video couched in quite strong terms about why I thought he was misguided in recreating Davros as an able-bodied man, and he was misunderstanding the nature of wheelchair users, basically, in terms of Doctor Who. So I'm not an apologist for him, but I think that this campaign of bringing Doctor Who down and bringing RTD down, when a few years ago everybody was hailing him as the saviour of Doctor Who, but as soon as he cast a black doctor and a trans character and started doing these things, the woke stuff started coming out of the woodwork again. And as I've said, I'm not a fan of everything he's done. I roll my eyes at Isaac Newton in Wild Blue Yonder. I roll my eyes at the male identifying Time Lord wouldn't understand from the Starbeast. There are lots of things that I roll my eyes at, but it's the modern world. You either go with it or you go away. And I wish that these people would go away. I really do. But they won't, because they get clicks and they get money. And that's what it's about for them. It's not about the truth. It's not about being honest with themselves or you or their viewers. It's about getting clicks, getting likes, the analytics, and getting paid. And that's what it's all about. And that's not going to happen here because I don't have enough subscribers. I just wanted to do my bit to set the record straight for anybody who might have been taken in by their lies, and they are lies. Right, thank you for watching. This has been a bit rambling, I know it was going to be, but I hope I've made the points I was trying to make. I'll see you soon with some more content. Until I do, keep taking the stuff.